Welcome to part 4 of Introduction to Climate Change Science, presented by Robert Bourgeois, a faculty member at Albertus Magnus College in New Haven, Connecticut. And this lesson forms part of the Introduction to Global Studies course at our college. And it was created to fulfill the requirements of a workshop at Yale University given through their programs of international and educational resources in summer 2015 on global changes in climate and food security. We ended up last time considering the impact of climate change on the Rocky Mountain National Park in the west, in Colorado, and observing or sharing the studies of scientists which showed the warming in the West in recent decades. Now we go to another example of what climate change looks like. This is a picture of the Great Barrier Reef, also about mid-century of the 20th century. The Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Queensland in northeastern Australia is the largest living thing on Earth. It is even visible from outer space. It is 2,300 kilometers long. That's about 1,420 miles long. And it's an ecosystem that comprises thousands of reefs and hundreds of islands made of over 600 types of hard and soft coral. It is home to countless species of colorful fish, mollusks, and starfish, plus turtles, dolphins, and sharks. In area, it's about 133,000 square miles. The reef structure is composed of and built by billions of tiny organisms, known as coral polyps. It supports a wide diversity of life and was selected as a World Heritage Site in 1981. Now let's look at large parts of what the Great Barrier Reef looks like today. A large part of the reef is protected by the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park, which helps to limit the impact of human use, such as fishing and tourism. Other environmental pressures on the reef and its ecosystem include runoff, climate change, which is accompanied by mass coral bleaching, and a cyclic population outbreak of the crown-of-thorns starfish. According to a study published in October 2012 by the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, the reef has lost more than half its coral cover since 1985. So let's proceed to another example of what climate change looks like. This is a picture taken between the 1880s and the 1890s of Muir Glacier. It's one of two pictures, both taken from the same location on the west shoreline of Muir Inlet in Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve, Alaska, to show changes that have occurred to Muir Glacier over approximately 110 years. Notice the people, and they're all formally dressed, and they're tripods for cameras, and notice that there are chunks of glacier all over the place, and that they're looking out at they're right at the wall of a glacier. Now from this same spot, let's look at this. This is what it looks like today. This change reflects landscape evolution and glacier dynamics in response to climate change, in particular to warming. The U.S. Geological Survey wrote, Muir Glacier is no longer visible at this spot, which is the terminus of what is now looks like a river rather than a glacier, as it has retreated more than 50 kilometers or 31 miles. So we can't even see the glacier from this vantage point, although it still exists, but it's 31 miles away. Note that there's abundant vegetation on the other side of the inlet. Now, what about climate change? Is it unique to today? As I explained, or as I observed in an earlier lecture, it is not unique. The climate has always been changing because the interacting systems are dynamic and always have been. This is a chart that goes back to the Precambrian period. It's at least 550 million years before the present. This is the past. And you have to go from right to left to go from the past to the present. This says today. And we had cool, warm periods, and we see variation in temperature all the way through. And these variations occurred very slowly. Even a sharp break like this, which looks like it's very rapid to us, we're talking about tens of millions of years, or possibly 10 million years in this scale, because we're talking about such an immense period of time. So, for example, the Cambrian explosion, which many of you may have heard of, when it was a period of a great diversification of the forms and body shapes of life. The Cambrian explosion is called an explosion because of its abruptness, but it actually refers to a period of about 10 million years. So these durations are almost unfathomable to us because our lifetimes are so brief in comparison to geological time. So the point I'm making, that changes that are rapid in geological time are very long to us, and if we were living in any of these changes, the changes would seem to be relatively slow. The Earth emerged, going over to this part of the scale, the Earth emerged from a period of glaciation around 8,000 years ago, and the Earth has been warming ever since. I'm going to end part 4 now, and I will be back in part 5 in the next screencast.